Hey everybody, welcome back to Starfyre Gaming. I am Sir Joseph and this is Warhammer 40k Rogue Trader. We are in the system where Eufrates II is. We're supposed to come and get a war council and relieve the siege. I went ahead and just hopped into the system so you didn't have to sit there and watch that. So we got some planets to explore, and we've got some unknown ships to go visit. And then we've got some more stuff. So let's go to these unknown ships first. The Rogue Trader's Void ship is facing several Aldari scout ships. The Xenos are in no hurry to attack, and the time seems to have slowed down. One wrong move and carnage will ensue. There's some red ones. Why have you these? We don't have torpedoes in our cargo? Weird. We'll ask Yurlet to help with negotiations. Yurlet's speech is met with a torrent of Aldari abuse that is too much for even the Rogue Trader's eludicator. The Xenos accuse her of betraying her kind by conspiring with the Monkey and unceremoniously cut the connection, yet their ships are no longer blocking the way. Scans the first planet. Look, one plasteel. That is not something we need to waste an extractum on. Since we have 10 and there's other planets that have far more plasteel. Two plasteel. Nothing. Lord Captain, United Corps of the Explorators and the Militia Forces is ready to attack the heretics who took over Eufrates II. The commanders recognize the Lord Inquisitor's sanction and agree to cede the right to supreme command to you. They ask that you summon a council of war in order to establish a plan of attack. How should we respond? Summon them to the bridge. We will hold a war council. Consider it done, your lordship. I will notify the commanders that you are ready to meet with them. The leader of the Explorator warriors appears on the bridge, and the deck trembles beneath the metal gate. He has acquired a new set of fearsome armor since the two of you last met, and his mechadendrites are now fitted with more formidable weapons of destruction. Unit Opticon 22 initiating identification, official greeting, procedure. unlocking the option of strategic data exchange. The Emperor's Angel, who follows in his wake, is clad in armor the color of a tempestuous ocean. You hear his voice, throaty and brimming with untamed boldness and strength. Which one of you Huscarls is Ignatius von Valentius? I am Thorvald Ironhide, and I wish to see the mortal who has been granted the honor of leading my pack into battle. You are looking at Ignatius von Valentius, Thorvald Ironhide. Thorvald takes the measure of you and nods in satisfaction. I know the habits of a warrior when I see one. You're no indolent Jahoke. Good. I give my approval. We will hunt the base-born heretics together. Opticon 22. How did you go from overseeing logistics to commanding armies? This command promotion hierarchical status update was executed following the death, decommissioning, destruction of the ship Teeth of Wrathgear. The Fleet's War Conclave was operating aboard that vessel. Unit Opticon 22 received premature rank promotion modernization to Magus Dominus based on his extensive catalog of recorded combat engagements. May your service benefit from the updated protocols that you were bestowed upon, start that over again. May your service benefit from the updated protocols that were bestowed upon you and the new analytical data that was entrusted to your elucidation. May the Omnisci guide operate this unit in his cause, mission, algorithm to service him. Let us commence the War Council. What good is another War Council with a cog priest who does not know the joys of battle, who cuts off his parts and replaces them with augments to please his all-knowing master? He will propose again a cowardly plan unworthy of warriors, as is the custom of his brethren. Registering a display of impertinence, data insufficiency, in regard to the military craft eradication methods of the Adeptus Mechanicus. Ishara, that must be that lady, the person that just showed up there. Or not, they're just walking on past us. Alright. Are you having another fight, gentlemen? How predictable. A woman in heavy armor walks onto the bridge, cloaked in the air of superiority. You remember seeing her before, in the retinue of Xavier Calcazar, when he barged into your chambers after your Magna Ascensio. Thank you for not starting without me. Acolyte Ashara, dispatched by the Lord Inquisitor to facilitate the operations on Eufrates II. My role on this war council is that of an advisor. So that must have been her, but she just kind of walked right on by. Heinrichs and Ishara exchange glances, but do not say a word. You cannot help but notice the furrow that forms on the Inquisitor's forehead at the sight of his colleague. Ah, that's where they stopped her, I guess. Yep. So shall we begin our war council, or shall we wait for heretics to corrupt this planet completely? I require a full report on the situation at the front. Eufrates II is a forge world. Manufactorums and extractums take up most of its surface. Upon corrupting them, disrupting their production algorithm, the heretics enhance their ranks with possessed mechanisms and false detective traitorous Skitari, whose protocol were disfigured with indoctrinating scrap code. Our forces have secured minor footholds on the surface, but are unable to deliver an effective blow to the headquarters operations center of the profaners in the machine cathedral at the heart of Manufactorum Sigma S13. According to the available data, it is the current location of the arch-heretic termination target, the Dark Apostle, Oleron the Cruel. You may outnumber the warband, but ours is a poor, the enemy, but ours is a poor warband. All it has is steel carls of the Omnici and scantily trained serfs from across the expanse, while our foe is the detestable but nevertheless deadly putrid-hearted traitors from the ranks of the world bearers, and their vessels protect the machine cathedral from orbit. Why have you not commenced planetary assault? There is a conflict, critical error, categorical lack of understanding of the imperatives of this operation within our chain of command. Unit Thorvald Ironhide is in favor of the strategy of mass destruction, which would constitute an unacceptable violation of the rights of operation. Every square meter of the Manufactorum is sacred, of high productivity value. Which is why the Cog Priest is so intent on hindering and sabotaging our assault by refusing our forces and landing Drekkars. But Thorvald Ironhide won't fight on the terms of the priests. If my battle plan is rejected, the Omnici servants can retake the planet themselves. Maybe they think their lives mean nothing compared to their precious cathedrals, but a wolf knows what his life is worth. Opticon 22, I must say my curiosity is piqued. The explorators are hiding something on that planet, something you refuse to show to anyone and are loath to destroy. What is it? The tech priest's vox creaked stubbornly. Request denied. The Omnici's mysterious procedures conducted on Eufrates II are to remain undisclosed according to the protocol vow of preservation of the hallowed from the profane. This is why on Fenris we have the priests follow the warriors, not the other way around. The priests never think about the battle ahead. They're only their tenets and taboos. But a wolf must think only of battle and his enemy's death, not about preserving cathedrals or counting the trophies that await him. Opticon 22, what do you propose our battle plan should be? Our strategic analysis points towards a full-scale offensive as the optimal course of action. The losses among the troops, insignificant personnel, laity, will be numerous, but will not exceed acceptable parameters. Replenishing such losses will be less arduous than repairing the damage that may otherwise come to the Manufactorums. Thorvald, what would you do if you were in command of this operation? I would rain down vengeful skies upon the enemy. I would plow through the land of Eufrates II with shells, shatter their defenses, level their fortified towers, and throw their host into disarray. And in that whirlwind of fury, I would lead my glorious pack to pave a path of blood for the Cogcaires. I've heard your opinions on this. Choose your strategy wisely. It is not every day you get to heed the advice of a seasoned warrior, one of the All-Father himself, to bring death to the foes of humanity. Hey Shara, why are you here? Lord Inquisitor entrusted me with the task of forging an alliance between the assembled fleet and the forces of the Cognizance fleet. Once this task is complete, I am to act as observer and special operative. And what are your responsibilities as a special operative? I'm afraid the Lord Inquisitor did not give me the authority to elaborate on this matter. Man, all these people, the Inquisitor puts us in charge, but people aren't going to tell us stuff. There is no surprise in my heart. The Inquisitor is, as always, too ashamed of its dark deeds to reveal them to honorable fighters. Thorvald makes a show of spitting on the floor. There is no spitting on my ship. I make myself clear, esteemed Lord Theobald. What's this? A show of character? Theobald growls and locks his indignant gaze with yours. Fine. I will respect your wishes, warlord, but the bitter taste of suspicion burns in my mouth. With pointed contempt, he steps away from Ishara. Why did Calcazar choose you? I happen to have some experience with large-scale bloodshed, rogue trader. That, and I never fail to deliver results. What troops can you spare to reinforce our army? The militia forces have already been transferred to Opticon 22. All I have left under my command is a tactical unit explicitly instructed to carry out the Lord Inquisitor's special assignments. I see. Now let us move on to discuss how we intend to kill the heretics. You two do not get along too well, do you? You read hearts like they're inscribed with runes, Ignatius. Theobald lets out a mocking chuckle. 'Tis true, my brothers and I grow tired of this cog priest and his naysaying. For whatever reason, he thinks himself our lord. I concur with this statement. Given that the military action, Sacred Purgation Crusade, eradication procedures is taking place on a world devoted to the machine god, Unit Opticon 22 insists on his privileged status in the matter of strategy selection. Well, I guess this is our best one here, the Imperium. Answer me this, Thorvald. If Opticon 22 were to come to Fenris and start ordering you around, what would you do? The Space Wolf bellows an unpleasant laughter. I would like to see him try. Fine, I hear you. No one will accuse Thorvald Ironhide of disrespecting the masters of the house, where he arrives as a guest. You will hear no more arguing from me, only silence. I will kill the heretics in the manner chosen by the esteemed Cog Priest. I shall now present to you the plan of our assault on Eufrates II. The first step is obvious. We eliminate the Machine Cathedral's orbital support. But what planetary assault strategy will you choose following the destruction of the enemy Void Fleet? We will begin by bombarding the enemy positions, then advance cautiously. We must conserve our troops. Your plan bores me. This is not the Space Wolf's way of war. But such cowardly strategies are the limit of the omniscience Cogkaigers, so you have my approval. Alright, now you have to destroy the fleet covering the Machine Cathedral. Space battles! Oh, maybe not. We're not. Maybe we're not doing a space battle. The Rogue Trader's ship took its place in the center of the attack formation. The right flank is guarded by the sacred combat vessels of the Adeptus Mechanicus, and the left consisted of the combined forces gathered by the Lord Inquisitor, headed by a frigate of the indomitable Space Wolves. The enemy deployed their ships in a wide arc in an attempt to surround the squadron, but the heretics' plan was not meant to be. Thoribald and Opticon 22 sent their detachments forward, tying up the enemy in combat and presenting the Lord Captain with the chance to deliver a blow to the very heart of the enemy position, where the flagships of the Traders of Humanity awaited their final hour. Oh, now we're going to do the space combat. Okay.
I'll be your beacon in the darkness.
$380 hit points, 225 shield. Holy free holies, that thing is big. We have 278, 120. It's a heavy cruiser. Well, unavailable. All right. Launch our torpedoes. Oh, it's in our range. Grr, rough, grr. That one is not. Oh! Let's go ahead and target him. I guess that's it. Come on, our little frigate. Fighters. Holy free holies. What is that? Oh, they just disappeared. No, a warp hole type thing. That is brutal. That's unavailable. Side shunt. Refresh our shields. Holy smokes.
I revel the spectacle of their glittering ruins.
Jiminy Christmas. Savaging us here. Drop some torpedoes. All right, I'd like to turn, but well, I got all the stuff back, so I guess that's not bad. Slowly wearing on him. That is too big to to turn, evidently. Spin those guys. I don't know if that would do any good. That did some good. And let's reinforce that shield as well. And I think that's going to be it. More fighters. There go our torpedoes. Go after fighters with our torpedoes, or go after the ship? See, we're gonna go. If we go through here, we'll lose our torpedoes. Let's go after these fighters.
The unfaithful fall.
Oh, I should have done the zappy zap thing. Torpedoes. I should have done that after I moved. Oh well. They're all bailing.
Another victory of two great dynasties, Lord Captain.
Got cargo. Let's fix our ship. Otherwise we'll forget to do so. Upgrade our hull. A general once said that all wars are fundamentally the same. If you've seen one, you've seen them all. Grok shit. The general did not witness the events on Eufrates II. Rogue trader Ignatius von Valentius was the supreme commander of that battle, a man of iron will, unflattering, unshakable. I served in his personal enforcer's guard back then, just another cocky kid who thought he was an expert soldier. The Emperor was gracious to me. He gave me a chance to realize just how wrong I was. Most of my comrades didn't get a chance like that. The shuttles would have blocked out the sun if you could have seen it through the smoke of the manufactorum city of Sigma S-13. At the heart stood the machine cathedral, our primary objective. The Lord Captain showed us mercy by having the landing zone bombarded from orbit. All the shuttles carrying troops, and more importantly, precious vehicles, reached their destination. Daunted by our numbers, the enemy withdrew. That was the perfect moment for a decisive attack. With an armored vehicle force of this size, we had the upper hand. Upon descending from orbit, Sister Argenta inspired the troops with the very first notes of her prayers. Her singing was the Emperor's voice commanding us to fight without any regard for our own lives. After rousing the soldiers to launch a daring raid, she quickly captured one of the heretics' commanders. That was when we heard a starkly different voice from the Sister of Battle. Trembling with fury, she personally interrogated the miscreant, pulling one poisoned confession after another out of him. Once she was done, the world was purged of his impure breath, and she was the one wielding the flamer. The sight of the heretic writhing in flames was imprinted upon our memories, shining a light on the cruel darkness of our immediate future like a brilliant beacon. In the command center, the Lord Captain ordered his generals to well, I'd like to do this one. It's only 85% chance. I think we're going to try it anyways. Or we just deliver a tactical report to the officers. Let's go here. Proceed with caution with the support of comprehensive area reconnaissance. We were commanded to prepare our auspexes and commence the assault. We consigned our lives to small green vid screens and their machine spirits. Whenever we avoided another one of our enemy's traps and ambushes, we would then vox cast their coordinates to the artillery gunners, while our comrades rained thunder and lightning upon the heads of those skulking whoresons. We gave the Emperor's peace to the rest, making slow but steady progress towards the city walls. Pushing through the ruins of sacred workshops, we looked with awe upon machines that, up until that point, had remained forbidden to the eyes of the laity. Those were places of incredible and frightening technology: void ship assembly halls, alchemical atriums, sacred arsenals, generators producing invisible fields unsettling to the mind, and scriptoriums containing knowledge of horrors best left undiscovered. In one of the chemical cathedrals, we came upon a shipment of cisterns containing hallucinogenic gas. The tech priests protested that the substance was not designed for warfare, that it was created for higher rituals, but the officers wasted no time in pumping our artillery shells full of that gas. At last, we reached the gates of Dock MU-514, the threshold of the metal nightmare that was Manufactorum Sigma S-13. However, the initial attempts to storm the dock shattered against the enemy's defenses. Magus Dominus Opticon 22 proposed a tech sabotage. He would send a small Skitarii unit behind the enemy lines and have them subdue the spirits of the area's defenses systems. Theobald, the fierce leader of the Space Wolves, proposed to send infiltrators behind the walls to kill enemy officers and weaken the dock's defenses. The captain ordered I'll do the deployment of infiltrators and execution of enemy commanders. The Space Wolves entered the city undetected and reaped a bloody harvest there. None could hide from their fierce and cunning warriors. The infiltrators killed one officer after another, sowing panic and disarray among the enemy. The bodies were impaled on spikes so that the heretics could see their commanders from afar. Once the mayhem had reached its peak, the Space Wolves demolished the turrets, opened the gate, and gave the signal to attack. The dock was ours. It took us many days to break through the metal heart of the Manufactorum. In the third week of the assault, the vanguard was halted and swept away by a salvo of plasma macro cannons, scorning every cannon of sacred engineering. The heretics had placed the hull of an unfinished void cruiser on treads several kilometers long. This leviathan of adamantine and plasteel barred our way. Magnus Dominus Opticon 22 insisted that we retake the sacred machine, for the vessel had been in the making for many decades, and its destruction would have meant a great tragedy for the Imperium. It came as a surprise to all that the Space Wolf Theobald supported the Magus Dominus. After the Lord Captain had reconciled him with the Explorator leader, Thorbold had tamed his pride and spoke in favor of the Tech Priest's cause of liberating the noble machine. The Lord Captain sent scouts to assess the fearsome weapon. The sight was both terrifying and measuring. A majestic cathedral that was designed to cut through the void was instead resting on treads of the size of a size that staggered the imagination. Those threads were grinding buildings to dust, and the ship's heavy cannons were incinerating entire tank formations. How could mere mortals hope to defeat a behemoth like that? The Lord Captain commanded that the sacred vessel be reclaimed from the enemy's clutches. Having the sacred machine on our side would have given our offensive a sizable edge. Our orders were to get a landing force to the cruiser's bridge and escort the engine seers to the main cogitator. Our shuttles used the turret's blind spot to deploy entire troops on board the cruiser, or elite troops on board the cruiser. While they were engaged with the shrieking heretics, the engine seers reasoned with the machine spirits of the main cogitators and initiated the blessed purgation protocols of the inner decks. It took us 3 days to drag every last cultist corpse out of the compartments. Slipping on pools of blood mixed with sacred unguents, we made it to the machine cathedral, a gargantuan hall breathing with the flames of 1,000 furnaces, the last bastion of the enemy's army. That was where I first faced the word bearers, betrayers of humanity, and unworthy sons of the Emperor. What could we, mere humans, possibly do to match their unholy, bestial rage? The Lord Captain brought the might of the captured Explorator cruiser to bear. There is no greater pleasure in war than turning the enemy's own weapon against them. Chaos Marines are stronger than any army of ordinary troops, but even they cannot survive a direct hit from a micro-cannon. The cruiser's weapons tracked their targets well, and no armor could protect them from shots like that. The Leviathan's treads rolled over the enemy's defenses, decimating the contemptible word-bearers and bringing us a great triumph. And that's when it came. Doomscream, an ancient and bloodthirsty hellbrute, a merciless executioner forged from adamantine and ceramite. That single foe was repelling our assaults, one after the other, turning hundreds of soldiers into a bloody pulp. For as long as that abomination lived, we had no hope of reaching the heart of the enemy citadel. The dire-eyed Thorbold volunteered to track down and destroy the vile spawn, but fate had other things in store for him and his brothers. The Space Wolves pack was to be the first to storm the Machine Cathedral, and thus Magus Dominus Optimum 22 assembled a cohort of elite Skitarii and said that he would locate and eliminate Doomscreen. Those soldiers were whispering that he was willing to activate the so-called Guaranteed Annihilation Protocol, a terrible and ominous rite that is as lethal to the enemies of the Omnisci as it is to his faithful servants. Upon arriving at the front lines, the Lord Captain questioned the survivors who had witnessed the ruin that Doomscream had wrought. Those lucky enough to have escaped with their lives had little to tell us. They remembered a terrible howling hanging in the air and a death machine impossibly quick for its size, dismembering people and crumpling tanks with its horrific manipulators. The enemy was ancient, devious, and utterly mad. The heretic's mind was clouded by rage and hatred, and his body was bound within a prison of metal and mutated flesh. Upon arriving at the front lines, the Lord Captain... Only a 60% chance there, huh? Well, we're going to give it a shot. Led his retinue to hunt down this ancient killing war machine himself. Ah, we failed. The fight was grueling and bloody. Even the Lord Captain's retinue could not pierce Doomscream's indestructible armor. It seemed that the Lord Captain's abundant luck was about to run out, but then Opticon 22 Skitarii and Thorbold's Space Wolves joined the fray. Their strife forgotten, the two commanders assailed the unholy weapon of destruction. Persuasion succeeded. It was the rogue traders' wise guidance that allowed their strikes to pierce Doomscream's armor. Brutally wounded and humiliated, the profane executioner had no choice but to flee from the fight. The abomination's torn pincer, fitted with an ancient and powerful bolter, became the rogue trader's rightful trophy. Unhallowed bellow. Heretical heavy bolter. At last we reached the Machine Cathedral. We saw a yawning lift shaft left behind by a colossal land-gnawing drill that had burrowed for kilometers into the depths of the planet. There, deep below, lay the last hiding places of the heretics' leaders. Hundreds of grenades, accompanied by promises of swift judgment, were hurled into the pit, such was our righteous anger. The planetary assault was a resounding success. The enemy forces were shattered and broken. A small faction remained in the Machine Cathedral, but the rest either had been destroyed or were destined to meet the same inevitable fate soon. The Lord Captain's retinue and the Space Wolves' band delved into the shaft, heading towards the heart of the Machine Cathedral. We watched them leave with reverence in our eyes as we were setting up a perimeter around the entrance. We knew that the true outcome of the Battle of Eufrates II depended on them, and that our fates were theirs to decide. And in we go. We got some space wolves sitting here. May the energies of the Imperium flow. Batteries be infused with the blessed poison of something or other, because I was too slow to read. The giant clad in dark crimson armor is in the middle of a sinister litany, his words turning into a repulsive, ethereal stench and flakes of otherworldly ice. He does not notice your presence. The same cannot be said about Kunrad Voitvir, who stands at his side. His completely mutated turquoise eyes flash upon seeing you. He flinches but remains silent, hesitant to interrupt the ritual. Yeah, that's going to do us no good. In the name of the God Emperor, I am here as your judge and executioner. The sorcerer scoffs. His deep, unnaturally vibrating voice causes your insides to shrink. What good is the name of a rotting corpse propped upon a golden throne? It carries no fear for the disciples of the true faith. The sorcerer reluctantly turns his burning gaze upon you. So you are the one who was so eager to meet me and your own demise. Rejoice, Brother Twilight. Today you become the new rogue trader. Voidvir's deformed features twist into a bloodthirsty smile. Yes, Master. I will rectify my mistake and reclaim what was stolen. Examine the machine. The platform beneath the sorcerer's feet is the drilling machine's massive tunneling shield. This mighty mechanism can gnaw through underground rock, bunker bulkheads reinforced with adamantine, or anything else that may lurk in the planet's depths. The corrupted servants of the Dos Mechanicus scuttle about the heretic, muttering twisted prayers of ignition and in attempts to persuade the omniscient, majestic beast to awaken and rend the world's flesh. You must have been preoccupied with something profoundly important if you paid no heed to me obliterating your army. Death for the glory of the true gods is a blessed fate for any believer. So why would I rob them of it? Every martyr who perishes in their name only empowers their reign. I was tasked with a different mission, to make the Coronis Expanse behold the sheer impotence of its most eminent protector. Once Kazakar's treasure has been stolen, his secret hoards plundered, and his name shamed, the dogs of the false emperor will see the truth. No one will protect them. No one will heed their pleas. Only by bowing to the masters of the Imperium will they earn the right to live. And what is this treasure you covet so terribly? I will keep this from you so that you may perish in the darkness of ignorance. Pathetic. Your masters don't even tell you the reason why he sent you to face your death. And neither will I make this poisoned cup any easier to drink. If you're so confident in your victory, then what are these secrets for? Very well. Kneel and pledge yourself to the true gods of the warp, for great revelations are a reward for the faithful. He gestures at you imperiously. Theobald nods his weapon. I doubt you intend to obey, but I would still advise against it. That was funny. Voidveer, what the devils are you doing here? Voidveer cocks his head sharply like a bird and laughs mockingly. I am on the path to greatness, Ignatius. True power, of the kind you and Theodora could only dream of. The edge of daybreak promised to weave me a truly remarkable fate. You are on the path to your own death, nothing more. You have almost reached the end. An empty threat. I have the upper hand this time. In my next prayer to the dark gods, I will thank them for letting me destroy another rogue traitor of the Von Valentius line. If only you knew what powerful weapon awaits us down below. With it, we will make the entire expanse... Enough, Brother Twilight. Your lips will not speak a word more than it is a heathen's place to hear. Ignorance is their cloister. Let them remain trapped there. No more words, Theobald. We must destroy him. We must stop him. Theobald's got a heavy bolter. The wolf lets out a chilling howl, and his pack ready their weapons, acknowledging it as an unequivocal order to kill. With a solemn gesture of his hands, Erlon thunders in fury. Let those whose blasphemes against the true gods beg forgiveness in vain. Let their lips be sealed. Let their hands be severed. Let their souls be reaped and scoured. Battle wolves! Do not allow the malevolent any respite. This is going long. A glorious fight awaits. Take heed with the silver-tongued traitor, for he is old, sly, and strong. But by the All-Father, the wolves will spill rivers of blood this day. The horrific display of profane sorcery appears to have filled Thorbold with joy and anticipation rather than fear. Have you encountered Erlon before? No, or else his head wouldn't still be attached to his neck. But my pack has heard plenty about his strengths and ignominious misdoings. One can see the evidence of his malefactions all across the Cronus expanse, like bear tracks upon fresh snow. We stalked him and looked for a chance to clamp our jaws around his throat, but the craven knows well how to hide behind the backs of his heretical lackeys. What manner of witchcraft was he attempting back there? He wished to make the tunneling behemoth, or to wake the tunneling behemoth. If you hunger for my thoughts, Erlon is searching for something down there. in the Manufactorum's deep halls. My warriors destroyed the energy font and silenced the drill, but the detestable malefic still found a way to revive it with his heinous magics. Another blasphemy. There are too many to count now. Pascal's dry voice is rattling like a heavy vehicle's chained track. His visor lights up, blinding green, then blue, and you hear a metallic groan coming from everywhere. It is as though the Manufactorum itself is being tortured. What is Erlon after? What is he trying to unearth? Do not ask, for I know not myself. Calcazar treats his allies like a Forensian mushroom farmer treats his produce. He keeps them in the dark and feeds them shit. He didn't see fit to enlighten us about the secrets of Eufrates II, but 'tis no matter. Whatever it is, we mustn't let the loathsome malefic claim it. I will deal with him. You're a brave one, and not easily deterred. Good. Then find a way to reach the tunneling platform while we give the mangy sorcerer something to worry about. Theobald exchanges glances with his warriors, and you can swear they all smile in anticipation inside their helmets. Hallbrandt, you stick to the original plan. Take 2 brothers and go after Doomscream. The scouts report that he took refuge here in the depths after being defeated in battle on the approach to the Machine Cathedral. I will take the unholy tin can that holds his traitorous brain back to Fenris. Good hunting. We won't fail you, the eager space marine lets out a hungering howl. Proudly treat the hunter's grin, in chase of the beasts of steel and blood. Fangs bared sharp in thirst and prey, let glory cloak their mighty gait. For the Emperor, watch yourselves out there. Idor Rus Ignatius, Fenir Hojola, or Hyolda. Alright, and with that, we're going to save it and call it a day. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. As always, like, subscribe, and comment. I've been Sir Joseph. You guys are amazing. Until next time, stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you later.